What up? What up, my guys? Welcome to another show, man. It's NBA Talk with Jay Money and Tony Mejia here from Wager Talk, guys. You know we're paired up with Wager Talk, partnered up. We have all type of special promo codes, we free picks over there at WagerTalk.com as well, and always checking out the Wager Talk live odds screen. Well, what's up with you, Tony? How you been doing over there, my brother?
What's up, my brother? It feels good to come off a winning night because the first two nights were rocky. Last night we hit with the Clippers. Props to Robert Covington. Thank you for those two free throws. Didn't think he had it in him. And thankfully Patrick Beverly shoved him on the loose ball to get those two free throws late. Otherwise, the Lakers would have covered that game. And my big play was on the under, so that was a rocking chair under. Although we got to talk about that 4-minute stretch that the Warriors and the Lakers had to blow me up in game one. I was on that under in that game. Never seen a 4-minute stretch where teams go 17 for 18 and 7 for 7 from the 3-point line. So a little weird to start the season. We got the Jazz blowing out the Denver Nuggets the other night. Didn't see that coming. I know you were on the receiving end of that too. So interesting start to the season, but we're good to go. 11 games tonight. Obviously, we still got college football and NFL in full swing, a little baseball playoffs, prepping for everything, my man. So just been working hard. How about you?
Yeah, I like that, man. Tony coming live from the sports book over there, man. But yeah, not hadn't started out well. Trying to get back on track today, man. Got some plays, trying to cash them, my guys. Let's get straight into it. First game up here, Tony. We're going to the streets of Washington. Here we have the Wizards laying 2 points versus the Bulls. This line has since come up to 2.5, so it's Wizards laying 2.5 now, my guys. Tony, you liking anything in this game?
I want to see. This is definitely a wait and see approach game because the Bulls probably should have been blown out by Miami the other night, and the fact that Bam Adebayo went 1 for 10 in the first half and just didn't look with it whatsoever, and then Ayo Dosunmu did such a nice job in pushing tempo and running the floor. Makes me want to take a look at the Bulls a little more before I write them off. I've already futures-wise put them behind the Cavs. It's a difficult situation that they're in where Zach LaVine just gets paid a ton of money and then he's out for maintenance due to that knee, although you got to get yourself right. Now, not hating on that, but it's not a great look that he'll miss tonight's game and obviously miss the season opener. Lonzo Ball, they're talking about him missing the entire season. And DeMar DeRozan, he got them off to a great start, probably the most dominant performance we've seen in the young season thus far, what he did in Miami. I didn't think he had that, and I'm considering the defensive chops that the Heat have. So we'll see if they can do it 2 games in a row. Not really in love with this Wizards nucleus. I know Porzingis was talking a big game over the summer, and obviously they've got Bradley Beal back and a little bit more of a veteran crew with Will Barton leading that bench unit, but don't know what to make of them yet. So this is a game I'd probably pass on, and if I had to, I would take the points.
Yeah, that's a good point there. It's a tough game for me, guys, because obviously the Wizards coming off that win. That first game, though, that was versus the Pacers, guys. The Pacers, and they didn't have Miles Turner in that game as well. So the Wizards, I feel like they probably should have blown the Pacers out by 20 points in that game, really, really assert their dominance. Now they come home, hope opener. For whatever reason, the Wizards are really good early season, and they kind of like falter out during the season, whatever. So I know last year they took some of my money starting out early season, but I can't tell you, though, the Bulls, they're a little bit better than we thought. Right, their offense is a little bit more better old machine. Even without LaVine, they still looked really good versus a really good defensive team in Miami over there. So this is the way I look at it. Obviously, the Heat do struggle to score, but they have a really great defense. But they're probably looking ahead. In this game, I kind of lean Chicago. It's not a game that I'm in a hurry to back, but I kind of lean Chicago here plus the points. It's just the way that I'm looking at it. And they have a big game on deck tomorrow versus the Cavs. Where I'm looking at it, Bulls could get the win tonight, then they're losing tomorrow versus the Cavs. It's definitely going to be a tough spot. So be interested to see if they look past this game to the Cavs or they come out here and try to get the win, knowing that it's a much worse spot for them tomorrow, my guys. So would like to lean to the Bulls, but I'm not. It's just a toss-up type of game, man, that I'm not betting. Another toss-up game here, Tony. We go over here to the streets of Indiana here. This line had reached up to 2.5/3, even though Miles Turner's out. It has since come down. So apparently some sharp money coming in here on the Spurs getting the point, my guys. What do you think about this game, Tony? Does the Spurs bounce back or they continue? This the tank for Wemby game?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, these are two of the prime candidates to tank for Victor Wembanyama And they're doing so out of the gate. Obviously, the Miles Turner thing was kind of funny. He ran into a ball boy. Now he's out at least a week with the ankle. And don't rush
Injury
back, Miles.
prone.
It's cool. We're good. And then the Spurs, they got two 19-year-olds in the rotation with Jeremy Sochan starting, and obviously Joshua Primo, the youngest player in the NBA last year, playing a big role off the bench. So Pop knows that this is a long haul deal. And they did not answer the bell the other night. I mean, they got destroyed from the jump by a Charlotte Hornets team that didn't have LaMelo Ball and looks mediocre. So we'll see. At this point, I would favor Indiana at home. I think they're a more talented nucleus there with Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield's trying to get traded, so he's going to look good until that happens. Had 10 rebounds the other night, and I put out this future in my package that is now out. And now, anybody can act upon it now because you can still make a rookie of the year bet. I got Benedict Mathurin. I think that kid is special.
Yeah,
so I like the Pacers. That'll be a client play for me. I'll lay the points with Indy tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't talk. It's a tough game. Hey, I'll put a little Teddy here. Does it worry you that they I don't like what Teddy does that, man. Playing devil's. I don't think I like the devil's advocate. Like anybody said, "Oh, I'm gonna play devil's advocate." I hate that.
Good content, though. Good content.
Pacers were laying 3. It's come down to 1. In all honesty, does that worry you here with the Pacers? And it also does it worry you that the Spurs are coming off getting literally smoked?
I mean, it's Pop when there are expectations versus Pop when he's grooming a young roster completely different. He would have let the Duncan, Ginobili, Parker-led Spurs have it, and you could comfortably bet the Spurs laying 15 tonight if that's the team. This is a team that he's got to nurture. I mean, Devin Vassell did not play well the other night. I expect big things from him. Keldon Johnson did. Those two are the leaders of this team, and they're so young, and they're in such roles that are alien to them that, I don't really know how hard he can be on them. In Indiana, I think if Buddy Hield shoots the ball well, Chris Duarte didn't have a great game, and then I do like their bench, even with Miles Turner out. Jabari Smith is going to be a rim protector so long as he stays out of foul trouble, and that means Isaiah Jackson can be a factor off the bench. If he doesn't have to play that many minutes. TJ McConnell, a veteran for that second unit, and I mentioned how much I love Mathurin. So from that standpoint, I think the Pacers are deeper. Friday night, you want to treat your home fans to at least a few wins in this tank season. So I think Indiana can get it done.
Yeah, man, it's a tough game. We probably spent too much time on this game. Yeah, Teddy, if you watch right now, still love you, my guy. But I just had to go full Teddy there. Yeah, I'm not sure what to do with this Pacers team, man. I like Halliburton. I like Duarte. Not a big fan of the rest of the roster. I like Benedict Mathurin coming off the bench. He's a baller. Could maybe look towards him for Rookie of the Year. I could definitely see that happening. Yep. And like TJ McConnell, under that, I'm not a big fan of their bench. This team doesn't have a ton of depth at the size at the center position. So behind Jalen Smith, no real center out there. I don't like Buddy Hield as a player. He's one of the most erratic players I've seen playing the NBA, my guys. All he wants to do is chunk up threes. He literally shoot a 3 right there in front of you guys. He's never seen a shot that he doesn't like. So
the Lakers want him. The Lakers need him.
I'm kind of the Lakers need him. They need the 3-point shooting. But what are we doing here? Saying that Miles Turner and Buddy Hield turn your team around. What are we doing here? Yeah. I like Halliburton. I like Duarte, but I'm one that think that Trey Jones and Vassell might be able to have a little bit better game here. Keldon Johnson might have a little bit better game. Jakob Poeltl here as well. Josh Richardson, Doug McDermott going up against his old squad. It's crazy, but I actually lean to the Spurs there. Both of these two teams are going to be in the tank fest, so these games won't make on a show too many times, guys. So it's early in the season. We're talking about every game, but that's a tank for Wemby game. Let's go over here to the streets of Charlotte here. We have the Hornets getting 6.5 points at home here, Tony. What do you think? Does this line seem a little high? It's a little bit too many points for the Hornets catching at the house?
Yeah, man. Out of all the numbers, because I do my numbers first, and then I take a look at some things, and then I do a second set of numbers, and then I look at the actual line. That's my process. It's my process for every sports, especially the case for basketball. I had New Orleans laying 4 at first, then I had New Orleans laying 2.5 on the road, and the number is 6.5. What do you make when you see a line that's clearly inflated? Is that a tell for you one way or another?
Yeah, most of the time it's a tell for me. Usually, I feel like if it's a line that's kind of scratching your head, either I'd stay off the game or definitely stay off the play that's scratching your head. It's kind of like in the NFL, right, where the Giants are getting 3 points here. I noticed in the NFL show, but a lot of people are gonna look at it. Why the hell are the Giants getting three? I just think it's definitely worth a deeper look, or just stay off the game if you feel like, because the odds makers obviously they have everything in account up to their line. So I feel like they set those lines for a reason, Tony.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think based on what we saw in game one, you really can't take much out of what Charlotte was able to do. They blew out San Antonio, took care of business. Kelly Oubre's in the starting lineup, PJ Washington too. Obviously, it's a shame what happened with Miles Bridges, and then with LaMelo out, it's Terry Rozier's team to run. So, I mean, they've got some vets. They still want to make the playoffs despite what happened. But I think their ceiling is basically that playing round. And then you've got a situation where the Pelicans looked fantastic in blowing out Brooklyn. Now, you take that with a grain of salt, because obviously all those guys in the Nets nucleus are playing together really for the first time. But you had to be impressed with what Zion Williamson was able to do right out of the gate. Valanciunas got his, despite the fact that Zion's back. CJ McCollum ran the team. Herbert Jones is going to D up, and Brandon Ingram was the best player on the floor. That included Kevin Durant. So, impressive. Impressive what we saw from the bench too. Can they take care of business in Charlotte? It'll be interesting. I think that's a lot of points. You basically, if I'm going to bet it, it would be to lay the points with New Orleans, but I would expect a 15-point win based on what my numbers told me.
Yeah, that's a good point there, man. I feel like when the benches get here, guys, let me just tell you this, man. Trey Murphy, Larry Nance Jr., Jose Alvarado, Devontae Graham, Jackson Hayes, and you can add in Najee Marshall and Herman Gomez out there. It's one of the best benches in the league, guys. This team is going to play hard for Willie Green. They're good. They're really well. This is why we're going to make so much money with the Pelicans. Offensively and defensively, they're so well balanced. You had Brandon Ingram over there, as he could be the best player on the team. You got Zion Wilson. He could be the best player on the NBA team. You got CJ McCollum as well. He could be the best player and run an offense on the team as well. This team is scary, man. I like Valanciunas down low. They have a defensive stopper in Herb Jones. This Pelicans team is loaded, in my opinion. I'm talking about 1 through 12. I really like this roster. I like the coach as well. They're building some over there in New Orleans. I'm on Pelicans here, first half, full game. Let's go to Smack City, my guy. Let's fly with the Pelicans, my guy. I like the Pellies here. We hopped on them last night, guys. You didn't know I do an NBA Talk with Jay night show as well, around 11 p.m. Eastern, my guys. So if you want to check that out, we hopped on the Pelicans last night. It was 5.5/6. It's up to 6.5 now. I like the Pelicanos in this one, my guys. First half and full game. Let's go over here to the streets of Brooklyn now, Tony. We got the Nets laying 2.5 points. Line open up at 4, down to 2.5. Some money coming in on the Raptors. You agree with it?
I do agree with it, only because I think this Brooklyn thing is a work in progress. And we know, look, let's talk facts. KD wanted out. He said he wanted out because he didn't love Steve Nash's ability to hype up his crew and get them ready and make sure that they're prepared. I love Steve Nash as a player. Verdict's out on him as Steve Nash as a coach. And, the fact that they weren't ready to play a season opener and New Orleans was able to come into Brooklyn and take their heart, that speaks volumes. And so this Raptor nucleus is a veteran bunch. Scotty Barnes, Rookie of the Year, and then you've got guys that have played together forever, and Siakam, Anunoby, and Van Vliet. And so the one thing I would say, I think the smart money is on Toronto, and I think the fact that the Nets didn't play much defense last year and didn't play any defense to start the season, even with a top-notch defender like Ben Simmons now on board, leans to the over here. I think Kyrie Irving's going to get his. He's going to be better in game 2 than in game 1. Van Vliet's not a great defender, so maybe this ends up being a shootout too.
Yeah, that's facts right there. Be interested to see who Scotty Barnes on. I know he likes to take up that matchup, right? So be interested to see if he's on KD, if he's on Kyrie. The whole thing is there's only 2 players in the offense that you really have to key in on. Simmons is kind of going to do whatever. He's really out there to facilitate. Royce O'Neal can make some threes. He's kind of like a 3-and-D guy. Nicholas Claxton, obviously they're not going to be scared of him offensively as well.
Yeah.
This is a tough game. The Raptors, they do play the Heat tomorrow, so be interested if they're looking ahead to a little Kyle Lowry little reunion over there. But this is a tough game for me. I don't think the Nets are as bad as they looked in the first game. I think that was more on Pelicans just ready to smash everybody. This Nets team at the house, they get one of their shooters back as well, and Joe Harris. This is another team where they don't really have the length out there to compete with the Raptors, but they definitely have the offense here, Tony. Just simply the only way I look at this game is I feel like if the Raptors, the way they play sticky defense, if they're getting the calls against them and they're not able to put their hands or play the physical type of defense, this could be a long game for the Raptors because I don't think they'll have enough offense to keep up with the Nets. So I lean the Nets. This game is you kind of watch and see how it's being called. If the refs are calling those touch fouls on the Raptors, then you know that it's a Nets type of game. If they're allowing the Raptors to play their defense and putting their hands and hand check these guys, it could be a long night for the Nets. So this is a really good live bet opportunity. Just see the way the game is called. I'm the one that I think that it'll be called a little bit more friendly for the Nets in this one. So that's the way I lean, not betting the game. Let's go over here down to Miami here, Tony. Not Orlando, but not too far from you here in Miami, getting 2.5 points versus the Boston Celtics, Tony.
Yeah, when I was covering the league, it was down in Fort Lauderdale, so I spent a ton of time at the formerly the American Airlines arena. Now it's named after the crypto chain thing, but FTX. But Miami at this point had the most disappointing performance outside of the Nuggets. Certainly the most disappointing performance in the Eastern Conference over these first few games. This first opener, losing to the Bulls at home. Adebayo, the big point of emphasis for him after a disappointing playoffs is to be more assertive on offense. He tried to be. He missed about 7 layups, everything short. He let a non-defender like Nikola Vucevic get in his head. So I hope that he rebounds here tonight after a 1-for-10 start. Jimmy Butler brought it. Max Strus brought it off the bench. Now the other tweak that Eric Spoelstra's made is starting reigning 6th man of the year, Tyler Hero. We'll see if that continues. But yeah, Miami's got a lot to prove, and they've got a team to prove it against in the Boston Celtics. I mean, these two teams are rivals. They know each other well. They certainly don't need to look too hard at the scouting report for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They've got chapters written on it down in South Florida. So we'll see how they respond. And obviously, Boston did a really nice job in beating Philadelphia on opening night, honoring Bill Russell and all of that. Tough first road game for them. They expect a pissed off Heat squad. I saw Marcus Smart was quoted at saying that. Numbers wise, my numbers, Miami -2.5. Actual Vegas numbers, Boston -2.5. What do you think?
I kind of like the Heat here, man. This is a playoff revenge angle. It's not something you want to go against. You'll see teams looking ahead to those games. It's really a circled spot, guys. That's one thing I'm trying to know is trying to get ahead of these spots that teams have circled on the calendar. Those are the ones that heavy motivation, peak motivation spots. Obviously, they got kicked out of the playoffs, the Eastern Conference Finals. To this Celtics team, you're going to think about it all offseason. Jimmy Butler's in the gym working on his 3-point shots, knowing what they need to keep up with the Celtics team which is defense and knocking down the threes here, guys. I'd like to lean Heat here early. They got their asses kicked versus the Bulls. Would like to come back I see them coming back with a lot more energy, a lot more defensive injury focus as well. We know that their home crowd is going to be behind them. They didn't have to travel anywhere, so second straight home game coming off a loss. This could be a Heat spot. This should be a Heat spot, guys. I'll be honest with you. Personally, I put some on Heat money line. I think they should be able to get it done in the first half here as well. Could see a little bit different game from the Celtics here, going on the road here with the new head coach. It's not Bill Russell night. See what I'm saying? They even struggled coming out of the gate versus the Sixers, which I know the Heat are going to take a step back offensively. They're still a top-tier team defensively. They won't get outscored and get outran by the Celtics in transition. The Heat know how to get back on defense, guys. So it's a little bit trickier test for the Celtics here and Joe Mazzulla coming out. I kind of like the Heat here, guys. I sprinkled on Heat plus 120 money line, guys. So you say you can do whatever you want, my guys. But let's go over here to the streets of New York here, Tony. I don't have much on this game. The Knicks land 7 points. We know that they were improved this year. The Pistons, they're improved as well, getting Bogdanovich from the Jazz over there. They're getting 7 points in this one. How you looking at this game?
Yeah, well, the streets of New York are hyped. They got Jalen Brunson. Anytime New York gets a free agent that they really wanted, expectations are through the roof, and they played well against the Grizzlies. Took them to overtime on the late 3. They got Cam Reddish to really come in and play well. If that continues, that's an X factor that they weren't counting on. He was only in the rotation because Quentin Grimes was sidelined. So Do this is a number that looked inflated to me. I had it at 5.5, and the number is 7. And Detroit played decently against the Magic. They squeaked out the win, got the cover too late because it was 3.5, and they won by 4. And they withstood Paolo Banchero playing really well and falling behind early, despite the fact that they're missing 2 guys that would be key in their rotation off the bench in Bagley and Alec Burks, who was one of their pickups. You mentioned Bogdanovic. He's a seamless addition to that front 5 in terms of being able to space the floor and really compete. And Jaden Ivey looked good. So that'll be key for them, having him and Cade Cunningham coexist. Cunningham had a bad first half and really was the catalyst in that comeback win over the Magic. I would take the points here with Detroit, but probably not a game I'm going to touch either.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a tough game for me here. I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, the Knicks coming off that game versus the Grizzlies don't like the fact they went into overtime, but they showed something. They could have got blown out in there. When I'm liking Brunson over there, man. I'm not. Obviously, the Pistons still trying to get there, but the Knicks have basically owned them of late. I believe they've won 7 out of the last 8 straight up, covered 7 out of the last 8 as well. It's somewhere pretty close to that. So in theory, you could argue that the Pistons have plenty of revenge here. Obviously, this is a tough team. They like to they can ball. So the Knicks have beaten them 8 straight times and covered 7 out of the last 8 versus them. Don't know what it is, but maybe the Knicks just own the Pistons. It's not always this simple. At some point, it is going to reverse, but the Knicks are much better this year as well. And they do have the size advantage. No real center over there for the Pistons. They got Isaiah Stewart. I believe he's like 6'9", 6'8", 6'9", running the center over there. He's a dog at heart, but he just doesn't have the length. I could see Robinson and Hardenstein getting every rebound in sight, my guys. I would like to lean Knicks, but I'm not laying that price with them. Let's go over here to Atlanta here, Tony. We got the Hawks laying 9 points versus the Magic in this one. Do you think that the Hawks can get this one done with the new look roster, Trae Young and Murray backcourt?
I mean, they certainly can get the job done. It's going to depend on whether the Magic can shoot the ball decently enough to hang around the entire way. I had this number at 8.5, and it's 9, so no real lean there. Banchero played fantastic. They need Terrence Ross to continue to play well, and he's starting games this season instead of coming off the bench. Cole Anthony, I think, will play, but we'll have to see. He was a late scratch in the opener that allowed Jalen Suggs to start. Suggs is expected to come off the bench. If they obviously get Anthony, they're a little deeper tonight. And the Hawks have really dominated this series. They've won 7 of 8, dating back to 6 of 7, dating back towards last season. So, they've got the Magic's number. And this will be an interesting performance for DeJounte Murray, who played really well in their debut, second straight home game for Atlanta, second straight road game for the Magic. And, do they win by double digits the way they were able to against Houston? I think it's certainly possible. It's going to come down to that late free throw shooting, and you can depend on Trae Young to put a game away.
Yeah, that's a good point. You made some good points there. I feel like this is the price for the Hawks for them to be laying like mid-season form when they're in mid-season form. I don't want to lay it versus and the Magic. I feel like they might have a little bit of a bench advantage here. I'm not a fan of the Hawks bench. I think they need to make maybe 1 or 2 trades or sign maybe some free agents. They got to bolster that bench, in my opinion. So that's why they have to have Young or Murray on the floor at some point, because the backups with that, until they get Bogdanovic back, the backup guard position is not really strong for them right now, having little Aaron Holiday come out there, my guys. So
yeah, it's a young bench.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Magic could keep it close, keep this one within the 9 points. Obviously, they're not a great team, but what do? They keep games close and lose them straight up. It's perfect for their tanking, for their tanking for Wemby over there. Let's go over here. That's it for that one, man. It's a tough game. Would like to lean towards the Magic. Let's talk about the Grizzlies here. Now, we're going to the streets of H-Town here, Tony. We got the Rockets getting 6.5 at the house. You got the Grizzlies laying 6.5 on the road. They do have a big game versus the Mavs on deck tomorrow. Do you think this is a look-ahead spot, or can the Rockets even keep up with this team?
Oh, Rockets can keep up. I mean, I really liked what Kevin Porter Jr. was able to do, once again, playing within himself. He looks a lot more polished. I think he's going to be the X factor for Houston, either being a bad team again or really taking a step forward. I mean, obviously, Jalen Green, you expect him to score. His shot selection still needs work. He wasn't consistent the other night and somewhat got shut down. They had Jabari Smith Jr. play really well. And that was an encouraging debut for him. Alpi Şengün is going to give you what he's going to do. No assists the other night, which cost me on a prop. but I fully expect him to facilitate more. They went with Bruno Fernando starting, and he had 7 assists, so he took all my Şengün assists. But we got Houston playing the Grizz and the Grizzlies. The other thing that I did that really impressed me, and for DFS and your fantasy basketball teams, Sandy Aldama from Spain, you got to have him on your team. I mean, he had a double-double, and between him and John Conchar, they're the ones that are going to be tasked with replacing some of those guys who are currently out. Obviously, Jaren Jackson Jr. is out till December, but you got Zaire Williams out. Dylan Brooks isn't going to play. So if you're going to catch the Grizzlies, now's the time to do it, except John Moran is having absolutely none of that. He showed up in midseason form. So am I going to take the points with the Rockets when Ja is clearly, feeling himself? Absolutely not. But I think it'll be a competitive game. And I think if Jalen Green is a little better tonight, then we should see another over game.
That's a good point there. Definitely, the Rockets don't play a ton of defense. Grizzlies like to run and gun. Could definitely see it over there. Y'all, guys, post those plays in the chat, man. If you're not paying attention to the chat, whether you're going back and watching the show or watching it live, we always have the chat going over there, whether it's a replay or it's live, man. People posting props over there. They're giving you good looks. My guy Jarrell in the chat says Adams is going to feast on rebounds. Houston is a run and gun team. They shoot 1,000 threes. Adams will have 10 rebounds at halftime. So some good looks in there, man. My guy Starchild liking Rockets money line, saying, hey, they still got some guys out over there, right? Yeah, obviously Triple J will be out for a little while here, and not sure what's going on with Dylan Brooks, but he played in the preseason, but he looked like he's out the first couple games. Hopefully he sits out tomorrow as well versus the Dallas Mavs, my guys. But I'm still kind of out on this Rockets team. Obviously, I mean, guys, I stay away from these tanking teams. I will be doing it all year. It doesn't mean that you can't find spots to take them, especially getting some points here. But, I mean, asking them to win is a tall task. They can do it, though. So, I mean, they have a nice young team. I just take the points just to be safe, my guy. But, hey, I can't talk you off your play. Star says he thinks Rockets, the money line is the play there, my guy. Could not talk you off there. It's definitely going to be a good one. I'll be watching that one closely, see how hard the Grizzlies are playing, see if because I'm possibly looking at the Mavs tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. Y'all know, check out the night show, man, 11 p.m. Eastern right here on YouTube, man. Hit the notifications as well. Let's go over here to the streets of Minnesota here, Tony. The Jazz got a big win in their first game, 74 points in the first half. Apparently, this team is going to the Western Conference Finals here, my guy. Do you think that the Timberwolves can blow them out here?
I mean, look, outside of the Heat Celtics, we've had some games already between teams that we know don't like each other. We had the Celtics and Sixers on opening night. We had your Mavs against the Suns. Obviously, those teams have beef, especially on the Suns end towards Dallas. And then, like I mentioned, the Heat and Celtics will probably be the most physical, emotionally contested game tonight. But Malik Beasley's firing shots off today. He's guaranteeing a win. Saying he's out for blood, basically, against his former teammates. Clearly did not like being raised by Wolves and then discarded. And you know why they traded for him, or they traded him away. They traded for Rudy Gobert, who was fantastic out of the gate. Gobert against his former team. So, you've got a lot of guys on the Utah side getting out their own team, at their old team. Jarrett Vanderbilt had double-digit rebounds in less than 20 minutes the other night. So at the least, that Utah is going to play hard in this one, and that they're going to be emotionally invested. That might mean taking the points in that first half before you settle in. I think numbers-wise, I had Minnesota minus 11, and it's actually 8. So that looks trappish to me. After being a double-digit favorite in their opener, they didn't cover against the Thunder, but I expected them to be a double-digit favorite here against Utah, which is basically on Oklahoma City's level. Maybe the odds makers got scared off and respected Utah a little bit based on what we saw the other night against Denver. What you think?
Yeah, that's a good point there. Maybe this is a little bit of an overreaction, right? This Jazz team, I mean, they can be good. They have some great players over there. It's just, it was surprising to me to see them do that in their first game. I think that was more in the Nuggets looking ahead to another game. Just, they weren't playing a lick of defense. I mean, like I say, these all are NBA players, but let's just say this, the Jazz shouldn't have had 74 points at the half. Let me just say that, my guys. So they're a great team. They're, you know what I'm saying? All these guys can ball, but 74 at the half is a bit high. That's more the Nuggets not playing any defense. So like you said, maybe a little bit. Now the Timberwolves are going to play defense. They have probably one of the best paint protectors in Rudy Gobert. They should know all about that. Jay McDaniels, really good defender as well. Anthony Edwards can play some defense. You got guys coming off the bench. Torian Prince, Jalen Noel as well, man. They Austin Rivers. They have some defenders. I'd be interested to see if I'll watch this game closely to see how these Jazz play. We know that Beasley and Vanderbilt's going to have something to say here, but Gobert's going to want to smash his old team as well. So tough game for me. Don't want to lay this high of a spread with the Timberwolves with how much moving parts they have going, but I'd still lean that way. I think that the Jazz, they just had fun in their game one. There's probably a letdown, huge letdown coming here, my guys. So I'd still lean to the Wolves there, minus the 8. Didn't bet the game though. We'll watch it closely. Let's go over here to Golden State here. We got the Warriors laying 5 points versus the Nuggets here, Tony. Obviously, if the Nuggets bring that same energy towards the defense, they'll get smacked up by 20 points again in this game. You like something here?
I mean, I think Golden State would be the side, if anything. Basically, Golden State's philosophy when playing Nikola Jokic over the years has been run him. We got to get up and down, make that man uncomfortable. Don't let him settle in and get in a groove, because obviously the Warriors have been size deficient and still play him one-on-one with Draymond. So, it'll be Draymond's focus to be in this game. That means he can't be as willing a help defender. And you've got a lot of moving parts for both sides. Steve Kerr still playing Klay Thompson only 20 minutes per game, which means Jordan Poole's role is enhanced here. Jordan Poole, by the way, a lot for 6th man of the year. He's got the narrative thing going after getting punched, and it looks like he'll have the role on the defending champs to get that done if he plays well. Beyond that, you obviously saw Steph. He's shooting the ball extremely well, and the key to that second unit, Jonathan Kuminga and Jonathan Wiseman, coming in and playing really well. And James Wiseman playing really well in his first game back. He showed flashes of that in the preseason and then got it done against the Lakers. I love his activity. Obviously, his size is a game-changing force for Golden State. And then on the Denver side, Jamal Murray questionable. I expect him to play, but they're going to treat his knee injury with kid gloves. Michael Porter Jr. coming off that back issue, also a guy that you have to watch. So from that standpoint, and you got Jokic dealing with a finger injury. So, Golden State are nothing for me.
Yeah, I like the Nuggets in this one, my guys. I like them first half and full game. Give me the spicy Nuggets in this one. Going back to back with them. Obviously, guys, you could be super scared off of them for the Jazz game, or you could also look at them watching that game. They didn't even care about that game, guys. It's almost, I feel like if the Heat and the Nuggets didn't care about their first games, they had playoff revenge on deck in the second game, spot circled, and they just seem to have their sights on this one. So could the Nuggets still lose by double digits? It's very possible. The Warriors are some ballers. They do have some turmoil over there as well. They did beat up on the Lakers. This isn't the Lakers, though. This Nuggets can really compete for the Western Conference title this year. They got kicked out of the first round of the playoffs last year by the Warriors 4-1. Obviously, they didn't have their guys. 2 of their main guys are back. I see them turning up here. Not a big fan of the bench. I don't want to see DeAndre Jordan get on the floor. Hopefully, he does not get on the floor, but I think the Nuggets win this game, my guys. So I'm taking the points. I hopped on them last night, plus the 6 is down to 5, 4.5 at some spots. I like the Nuggets to win this game. I'm taking them plus the 5. Also taking them first half plus the 2.5, my guys. Nuggets official play here. I will be going to Wendy's today. Maybe just a little 4-piece, some sweet and sour sauce, but going to get some spicy nuggets today. I think they win tonight in Golden State. Shock the world, my guys. Let's go over here to this last game up. We got going to Portland here, Tony. We got the Blazers getting 5 points at home versus the Phoenix Suns here. You like anything in this game?
Yeah, well, I put the Suns as 4-point favorites, and I went back and looked at it, and I said, all right, maybe 3.5, 3. And so it's 5. So the value is on Portland. These are not last season's Portland Trailblazers. Let's get that out of the way right now. They were able to withstand a solid effort from Sacramento at home, and they made plays down the stretch at winning time. And that was impressive because it's basically a new group. You've got Anthony Simons and Damian Lillard, obviously have played together for years, but now Simons is in that CJ McCollum role where last season when Dame basically took the year off because they weren't going anywhere and he had to get healthy, it was Simon's show when he was out there. So now those two have to coexist. They did a nice job in game 1. Jeremy Grant, awesome performance for him at both ends. He's going to have to be a two-way player like that for them. Dame Lillard campaigned to have him, and you saw why in that opener. And then you've got Josh Hart, who's going to play hard every given night. He had an interesting year last season, coming over from New Orleans and being more of a scorer than he's ever been. Now he gets to play the jack of all trades role that he's best suited to. So I really like that lineup. Their bench plays with energy. It's a little young. They're going to rely on Shaedon Sharpe and Keon Johnson in those backcourt spots behind Lillard and Simons. So that worries me a little bit. But I think they can hang, especially at home. That home court advantage, we didn't get to talk about it at all last year because they were tanking mercilessly. But this year, I think you will see that Moda Center rocking. This is an interesting spot for the Phoenix Suns because Chris Paul stunk it up the other night. Now, are we going to write Chris Paul off as being washed? Certainly not me. But at the same time, is he ready to start the season? That remains to be seen. And I think if he is ready to start the season, we'll find out tonight because Damian Lillard, as great as he is, not a wonderful defender. So Paul will have his opportunities. You know what you're going to get from Devin Booker. And I do like the chemistry that Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson had as starting forwards because while they've been playing for years, that's a new role for Cam Johnson. So, interesting dynamic here. I think Phoenix, although they were able to pull it out against the Mavericks, still trying to figure some things out, still a little weak on the bench side. So I would take the points with Portland. That's one of my better, more preferred plays tonight.
Yeah, that's a good point there. I don't have much on this game, guys, so I'm not going to waste your time. Obviously, the Suns have a ton of turmoil going on. They had to come back, make a huge comeback to come versus the Mavs. They were down by 20 points in that game. So at least it does show something near comeback. They could have really just given up in that one. In fact, they come back from down 2 to a team that's going to start to own them now. They come back and win that one. It shows something, guys. So they could possibly bring some of that energy into this game. I do think the Blazers are like a middle of the pack team. I see them possibly listening to playoffs over there. Possibly, I'm not sure what Dame is doing, to be honest with you. They're not necessarily surrounding them with the best of guys. I think he's going to be pretty close to leaving. He's saying he want to stay loyal. There's definitely a situation to keep an eye on there in Portland, my guys. So nothing official for me in that game. Now let's get to this commercial. Let's go talk about a commercial over here, my guys. We got some special promo codes at Wager Talk. We'll see if Tony will have one as well at some point, my guys. But we got this. This is for all the cappers, man. Check out the commercial.
The NBA regular season tips off on Tuesday, October 18th. And who better to bet alongside than Rob Vino and Hakeem Profit? Rob Vino enters the season ranked number 1 all-time in NBA profit at Wager Talk. On the flip side, Hakeem Profit is looking to replicate last season after he finished up the year picking up over 44 units in profit for his NBA clients. And right now you can get the first 7 days of the NBA season for less than $5 per day per handicapper. For a limited time, you can get the first full week of NBA from both Rob Vino and Hakeem Profit for the cost of just buying one of them. You heard right. For $69, you will get any NBA releases, including 5% best bets from Vino and Ski, from Tuesday, October 18th to Monday, October 24th, 2022. As an added bonus, the first 25 to sign up will get an additional 2 days added to their NBA access, a $100 value for free, taking you through October 26th.
I like it, man. Remember, the first 25 people sign up, you get those extra couple of days as well. Tony, you're over there at Wager Talk. You've been killing over there. Let the people know what you've been doing over there at Wager Talk. What do you have going, and any picks on tonight's slate?
Yeah, NBA wise, like I said, started slowly Tuesday and Wednesday. Yesterday was the first winning day out of the 3. Was over 150 units of profit last year, number 1 at Wager Talk in spread plays. So basically plays against the spread. I got weighed down by my totals. So hopefully I rebound on totals this season. That's actually been a strength of mine over the years. Just had a horrible year last year with totals. So we'll straighten that out. Got props as well. And then all the other sports, I'm in them all. Even the World Cup, I don't know where I'm going to find the time to do that. But when it hits in November and you guys are watching soccer in the afternoon, you can ride with me on that as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a great year, and it's going to be a fantastic next few months. But, yeah, Rob and Ski, fantastic as well at what they do. They share a birthday, too. So that's pretty neat. And those guys are, two of the best. So can't go wrong at Wager Talk. We got great people and very talented handicappers.
Facts right there. What you liking on tonight's card, Tony?
Well, man, I like the Blazers at home. I think that's a game that they can win outright because while Phoenix may be able to generate some of that momentum from that comeback win over Dallas. They looked spent at times in that game. They looked like they didn't have answers. DeAndre Ayton didn't look pleased. He had to really get it going in that second half, and obviously Book got in a rhythm and took over. He's going to have to deal with some pretty solid defenders in Hart and Grant that'll try to get in his space and make him a passer instead of a scorer. So on the road, I think this is a spot for Portland to either cover or win outright.
Yeah, that's a good point there, man. For me tonight, I got 4 plays trying to go 4-0 one time for the one time. If you don't like them, you don't have to take them, guys. I'm on the Pelicans first half, -3.5, full game, -6.5. Could be a trifecta spot, smack city spot for the Pelicans there. Much better offensively and defensively balanced, my guys. And I'm also going with the Nuggets here. It's a bounce back game for the Nuggets. For the Nuggets, a circle spot as well. Are things guaranteed? No, but I'd like to be on the team here that's more motivated as well, that has some playoff revenge, getting kicked out of the playoffs in the first round 4-1 without their guys. They got their guys back. Obviously Murray's not 100%, but I see the Nuggets having conversations amongst themselves saying, look here, guys, we got smoked. We got insulted by our own quality in the first game. Let's bounce back here by one of the top tier teams in the NBA on national TV. They can right the ship and go 1-1 on the season and flip the narrative. And then people might be talking about the Nuggets actually possibly competing for a championship this year, my guys. Give me the spicy Nuggets first half plus the 2.5 or 3, whatever you want to do. First half plus 2.5, full game plus the 5 for the Nuggets. Let's go 4-0 one time for the one time. Honorable mentions would be the Heat on the money line plus the 120. Heat first half and Heat full game money line. Those definitely honorable mentions, my guys. I like all 3 of the spots. Like the situations. Let's get some cash. If you don't like the plays, it's your money. You don't have to take them, my guys. That's Tony Mejia. Go check him out at Wager Talk. You can follow me as well on Twitter at Mejia Dinero. You can follow me as well at J Money is Money. We out, my guys. Let's get this cash. It's Us Against the Bookies. It's all love. Appreciate your time.